Raider Nation, I'm going to go ahead and challenge you here. I want to get to 113,000 subscribers by the weekend. We only need 153 more to go. I know the power of y'all. I know you can do it. So please, if you're coming across this video for the first time and you're not subbed, well, hit it. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Hit that sub button. Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. Coming up here on today's show, we're going to be talking about Deebo Samuel potentially coming to the Raiders. We'll get into why this internet rumor is a little bit crazy. Hunter Renfrow, is he going to be getting a new contract extension? Darren Waller, could this be his final season? There's an insider that thinks it may. DeSean Jackson was on a podcast and named some destinations that he'd like to end up signing with. And at the end of today's show, I'm going to show you all 30 of the Raiders' pre-draft visits because the NFL draft is next weekend. In fact, it's a week from today. So the reason why we're talking about Deebo Samuel is because Deebo Samuel requested a trade on Wednesday, and Derek Carr went ahead and he quote tweeted and was just kind of like, wow, like, yeah, Deebo wants to get dealt. It's kind of a crazy offseason. So then, just because this is the way the internet works, everyone was like, does Carr want Deebo Samuel to come to Las Vegas? I mean, hey, in today's world, if somebody tweets about something, I mean, that means that they want him on the team, right? And I can understand the rumors and all the buzz because Deebo's an incredible player. Whether you want to talk about his ability to rush the football as a receiver, 59 carries, 365 yards, 8 touchdowns, 6.2 yards per carry. Oh, yeah, but he's a receiver who had 77 grabs, 1,405 yards, 6 touchdowns. And I get it. Raider fans, we don't like the 40 whiners or whatever the hell you want to call them. So when the rumors start popping up, Deebo Samuel to Las Vegas, I'm going to end this one right here. It's 0 just win, babies. Tuck rule, tuck that. I get what Carr tweeted, but he's just expressing his opinion. It's a crazy world we live in, but you can actually go on social media and not mean something just to express your opinion. So, I will admit, though, I saw it and I got excited, and I wasn't the only one that got excited about it. Like, my initial reaction was literally exactly what Kenny King's reaction was like, uh-oh, Derek Carr, Dave Ziegler's offense, they're getting ready, which then you can see down here, Derek Carr replied to that tweet and said, laugh out loud, no, use that money for Renfrow. So we'll get into the latest around Hunter Renfrow, but before we do, here's my question. And I'm always trying to be honest with y'all, and I'm curious the way that you shake out on this one. Who's the better wide receiver? Is it Deebo Samuel, type DS, or is it Hunter Renfrow? Go ahead and type HR. I love Renfrow for obvious reasons, but Deebo's the better player. And most people, and I would say 95% people out there, would say Deebo Samuel is the better player. However, Deebo wants to get paid. Deebo wants to be one of the highest paid wide receivers in the league. You're not going to see Hunter Renfrow get over $15 million a year on his contract. So for that reason, for the way that the Raiders offense is going to work, I think Hunter Renfrow, at let's just say his new contract value, which is going to be around $12 million, I believe, is a better value than paying Deebo Samuel $25 for this Raiders offense. Because the reason why Deebo's not happy, he wants to get put up in this range. He wants to be paid probably in the Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins realm. And if his agent was doing a good job, he'd get paid like Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill. He wants guaranteed money. He wants to be one of the highest paid dudes because he wants that respect. Not only can he run the football, but he can also catch it as well. So when I think about that and him wanting that much money, and then I think about my Hunter Renfrow contract extension projection of 3 years, $36.9, do I want to pay Deebo Samuel $25 million a year, or do I want to go ahead and give Hunter Renfrow a contract extension, which when you add this extension to his already current deal, Hunter Renfrow this upcoming season is going to make $2.62 million. So that extension plus 2.62, this is what my new contract projection for Hunter Renfrow is going to be. 4 years, an average of $10 million. Even if they wanted to give him more money in that contract extension projection, if Renfrow's on average making $12 million a year, that's a better value for this offense than Deebo Samuel making $25 million. And I actually thought it was a little bit funny the day after on the Raiders Report. This is the exact notes that I had on Tuesday's live show. Remember, the Raiders Report goes live every single Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific, and I said Hunter Renfrow is going to be the next player in the silver and black that gets a contract extension. I gave it 3 just win babies, and then the very next day, Derek Carr is saying that he would rather invest the money that it would require to go out and get Deebo Samuel and use that money on Hunter Renfrow. It's pretty interesting to me. That's all I got to say. Now, the next story coming up here around the Raiders Report is Darren Waller. And a Raiders insider said, don't be surprised, essentially, if this is going to be the final season around our star tight end. I'll get into the story, but before I do, today's show is presented by Panda Supps. If you guys are looking for the best workout supplements on the market, we got them. And we got a special deal, and I love my guy Mayor Bot. He's the guy that owns Panda Sup, big-time Raider fan. He's always hooking us up with the best deals. You can get 35% off at pandasups.com. Just use code DRAFT. The draft is a week away, and the Raiders have the 86th pick, so this is why I love this deal here. We know how great all the supplements are. We know everything. But if you get if you spend more than $86, we're also going to throw in a free shaker. That deal ends at the start of the NFL draft. Usually, you get something free once you spend over $100. So essentially, we're saving you $14, and we're also going to give you that extra 35%. Plus, these shakers, guys, they're really freaking sick. They're a lot better than your normal shaker. So whether you need BCAAs, protein, I don't know about y'all. If I have a rough night, so if you went ahead and you celebrated 420 a little bit too hard and you're a little bit dehydrated this morning, you can go ahead and you can make sure that you're hydrated by taking a scoop of the BCAAs. One more time, it's pandasups.com. Use code DRAFT for 35% off. All right, guys, now we're going to be getting into the Darren Waller trade side of this, and this is probably one of the biggest rumors circulating right now around the silver and black. And the reason why we're talking about this is because Raiders insider Vic Tafur spoke, and he was saying that, hey, he doesn't think Waller finishes out his contract with Las Vegas. Waller has 2 years left on his deal. The rumor is that Waller wants a new contract. So I want you to see exactly what Tafur had to say, and then I'll go ahead and I'll break it down from my standpoint. Moreau will be a lot more affordable than Darren Waller, but I think you can probably get Renfrow and Moreau done. You have all these new contracts. You have Chandler Jones, Devontae Adams, and now Carr. I kind of feel like Waller is kind of the odd man out. I think he probably won't be here past this year, but you never know. So Tafur was asked on the whole idea of Waller staying, going, what exactly is happening, because there's been a lot of rumors on it. But you know what? This is one thing that Tafur brought up, and I do think it's interesting because, you know, when you talk a lot about contracts, sometimes organizations, they make decisions just like this one. So what I want you to do is be Josh McDaniels, be Dave Ziegler here, and let's say you can only do one. Would you rather keep Darren Waller, or would you rather keep Hunter Renfrow and Foster Moreau? So if you'd rather just keep Waller, type DW. If you'd rather keep Renfrow and Moreau, go ahead and type RM. Renfrow and Moreau are dogs, but you know what? I would rather keep Darren Waller, and it's for the simple aspect of if you have a player like Waller, you can't let him go. And not that Renfrow and Moreau aren't good players, but they're easier to replace than Waller. Darren Wallers don't grow on trees. I'm sorry, they don't. Can you find a good slot receiver like Renfrow? Yes, you can. I'm not saying you're going to get the same production. Can you find another good tight end like Foster? Sure. But Waller would be the harder player to replace, so for that reason, I would rather just keep Darren. But debates like this, y'all, is exactly why you don't, well, I'll tell you what you won't do. But first, if you guys haven't hit me up on IG, if you haven't hit me up on Twitter yet, make sure you go ahead and do so. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. A lot of shit happens in the offseason, whether it's NFL news or rumors, whether it's extra free content. I'm always sharing stuff on my Instagram story, so please hit me up at Mitchell Renz 365. So the whole Darren Waller debate compared to Renfrow or Moreau, the reason why debates like this shouldn't happen, or why you don't do something like this, which is give Josh Jacobs a 5th year. Not that Jacobs isn't a good running back. I'm saying this. If I could take that $8.03 million that you would have to give Josh next season, and I can give that money to Darren Waller to make sure that he's happy, to make sure that we can keep Hunter Renfrow, to make sure we can keep Foster Moreau, I would rather do that. Is Josh a hell of a running back? No doubt about it. But you're also paying Kenyon Drake, and running back is the easiest position to be able to replace. On top of Waller, I know last year, man, he had a few injury issues, missed 5 games, maybe even 6 games, really, when you talk about all the injuries he had. He still had 55 grabs. He averaged over 60 yards per game. And in 2020 and 2019, he was putting up numbers that put him in this realm of the best tight ends in the National Football League. He's going to want to get paid, probably like George Kittle, Travis Kelce. I wouldn't blame him if he even asked for more just because of the way contracts work with whoever's the latest guy to get a deal ends up getting the biggest deal. But if the rumors around Darren Waller are true that this could be his last season, I am interested to see what the Raiders do. Do you keep him this year? You play him. And then in the offseason, if you don't plan on keeping him, you better trade him because I'd rather have something rather than nothing for Darren Waller. The next story coming up here is around DeSean Jackson. And Jackson was signed last offseason to try to be a deep threat, to try to fill a little bit of a void left behind by Henry Ruggs. And DeSean Jackson named 4 teams that he wants to play with in a recent podcast. So what are the chances of DeSean Jackson coming back to the Raiders? I'm going to go ahead and give this one 0 just win, babies. It's Tuck Rule, Tuck That. Jackson was on Sports Illustrated's podcast. It's called Laces Out. And he was asked, what are some teams that you would ideally like to sign with in free agency? He said he would like to play with 4 teams. None of those 4 teams are the Las Vegas Raiders. In fact, he mentioned 2 teams in the division. He mentioned the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, the Broncos with Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson with the Browns, and, oh yeah, the Packers. They don't have Devontae Adams anymore. Maybe he can go ahead and over to the Green Bay Packers. So I saw that, and I was like, all right, if you're going to mention 2 AFC West teams, I'm kind of done with DeSean Jackson because even when he was on the team, he realistically wasn't the best fit even with DC. So how about this? We got Demarcus Robinson in free agency. If you could pick right now, and you didn't see that last quote about Jackson, let's say Jackson said he wanted to play for us, would you rather have DeSean Jackson or Demarcus Robinson, type DJ for Jackson, type DR for Robinson? We're probably done talking about free agency, at least for today, unless the Raiders go ahead and they go out and sign somebody. If they do, remember, we probably are going to go live. We're going to break it all down, so hit that subscribe button, turn on all those notifications. But if you want to see what's coming up next, we're going to talk about some Raiders pre-draft visits. Remember, you get 30 pre-draft visits. So we're going to go through all 30 of them, and I'm just going to start at the quarterback position and work my way down to defense. In terms of players here, Danny Gray is a very interesting prospect. I see him going in round 5. Christian Watson, he's probably going to go in round 2, though there have been some rumors about him going in round 1. Now a lot of tight ends. Lots and lots of tight ends have come in, which is one of the reasons why I think Tafur said what he did about Waller. James Mitchell, Isaiah Likely, and then Cade Otton. These are your third rounders. Greg Dulcich is also probably going to be a third rounder. Mitchell and Amari Rodgers, you're looking at more day 3 prospects there. Jelani Woods, he's a round 7 guy. Jameer Salyer, 5th rounder. Thayer Munford's probably going to be a 5th rounder. Cole Strange, really good 3rd round prospect out of Chattanooga that I like. Bama Lanesi, the offensive tackle from Utah, he's a late day 3 type of player. Some of the defensive tackles that the Raiders brought in. Devontae Wyatt, I can see going in round 1. He's not going to fall to 86. The name that intrigues me the most out of all the names on here is unfortunately the name that I can't pronounce, and it's Otito from UCLA. Some more pre-draft visits here on the defensive side of the football. The only linebacker was Jeremiah Moon, which I do find interesting. Tariq Woolen is one of my overall favorite prospects in this year's draft. Marcus Jones, Goodrich to me is probably a 5th round pick. Kalen Barnes ran the fastest 40 time at 4.23 this past year. Alonta Taylor, he's going to go in, I would say, the 4th round here. Damari Mathis, JT Woods, those are day 2 probably players, round 3 prospects, maybe round 4 for Mathis. So when I go through and I look at all 30 of those pre-draft visits, what I see the Raiders looking at, and this is based off the visits and based off the visits alone, this is what the Raiders draft needs are. Corner is number 1. Tight ends, offensive line, defensive tackle, and wide receiver. I base this off the amount of players that they brought in for visits. I also based it off of how high those players are going to go in the draft. And this is what I see. I also would take away from that is maybe there's an extra player in free agency, or maybe there's a player in a trade that the Raiders are targeting because I don't know if the draft needs actually measure up to the actual needs for this team. So before I go, y'all, I appreciate everyone who tuned in. I appreciate everyone who always watches to the end. Believe me when I say this, I know y'all are the real ones. So if you made it till this far in the video, I'm going to know. How? By you letting me know. What is the Raiders' biggest draft need? Appreciate everyone. Enjoy your Thursday, and if anything happens, I'll be back, so make sure you hit that sub button.